Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Artcasters number 112. This will be our year-end wrap-up, but we are a man down today because Josh is sick. So we want to wish Josh well. Hopefully he'll get better. But this is going to be the last show for this year. We're taking next week off because of the holidays and everything. And we have returning guests, actually returning from last week, Mike Emirates. Hey, Mike, how's it going?
How's it going? Can't get rid of me.
Pretty good. Long time no see.
Right.
I think this is the first time we've had a guest on twice in a row.
Oh, maybe.
So, but yeah, it's kind of a bummer that Josh isn't here because we did want to just talk about sort of our year, and if you guys are in the chat and everything, you can kind of chime in and talk about how things have been going with you and everything. Hold on, I'm gonna try to pull that up. Where did it go? I lost it. I'll find it anyway. But I know, Mike, you've had a kind of a crazy year. I've had sort of an unusual year, so definitely want to dive into that. But before we do, I want to, as we always do, let everyone know where they can find you. So where can everyone find you, Mike?
Well, right now the best place to find me is on Instagram. You could just search for Mike Emirates there on Instagram, or spacecatcomics.com. That'll link you to my store that I just opened, and then on the sidebar there's links to all my social media pages.
Awesome. And as far as me, you should know where to find me because you're on my channel. But everywhere else, as far as stores and websites and everything, it's usually all Serkworks. Serkworks.com, you can go there. So that's where you can find me. And Josh is, is it joshuakemble.com or I know the links are all in the show, in the description. So, so that's where you can find us. So yeah, I just want to, I guess I'll hand it over to you, Mike, because you've done quite a bit this year, and you've actually, the interesting thing is you set up sort of part of the year, you just abandoned your art, you kind of quit art, but then you return.
Yeah.
And before that, there was the whole 100 Days of Main Comics anthology, which you started, and you're back to doing that. So I don't know exactly where you want to start off and everything, but I'm kind of curious because I never, and maybe that's not a story you want to tell, or you can tell as much as you want, but I don't know the whole story, so I'm really curious myself.
Yeah, I mean, there's some aspects that I probably won't get too deep into, right. But it was an insane year. It really was. It started off real strong. With the anthology, which actually we started about this time last year. We were talking about it and getting it ready, and we really hit the ground running, and it was tough and it was a lot of work. And I mean, that set up a nice tone for the year, to be honest, because I mean, we hit the ground running working on comics, every day, and every single person that was a part of that was like, we all committed to the 100 days, to get all of our comics done in 100 days. So it was like, 14 or so people who were working on the comics, all doing a 100-day challenge at the same time. It was really cool. We all used to go in the Google Hangouts actually while we were working on stuff. So there was a period of a few months where just about all day, every day, there was at least somebody in the Hangouts. And that was just a blast because we got to hang out with people from all over the world, because we were crossing over time zones and stuff. And that was such a cool experience. And, I finished a comic out of it and I felt really great. And I was never more sure that, what I'm doing is exactly what I want to be doing. Like it really lit a fire under me to be a part of that book and to be so involved in making it, and then to finish the comic too. It was a real rush. And so I started planning all this other stuff. Like I wanted to, one of my big goals, it's still one of my big goals now, but it's going to kind of carry over into next year now. But one of my big goals is going to be to do a short comic to get submitted to Heavy Metal Magazine, because that's like a huge inspiration of mine from when I was a kid and all the way up till now. And so I was going to do that. I was going to try to start doing monthly comics to put on my Patreon. Like I basically had this list of stuff that I was going to do. And then all of a sudden I had some family issues kind of pop up. some family drama, and it had nothing to do with, making comics or my life or anything like that in terms of like my career and what I enjoy doing. It was a totally like just a relationship issue between, me and a family member. And it just flipped me on my head. Like, and I don't know, I'm still kind of trying to figure out exactly why, but that actually set in motion like 3 months of just a really bizarre kind of like an odyssey of sorts. Like suddenly I just couldn't draw anymore. And I'm not a person that likes to make excuses for that. Like I have a little thing right in front of my desk that says in bold print, no excuses, like I wake up every day and force myself to do it. And I just wasn't doing it. It was like I didn't care about anything anymore. It was really weird. But that's that's kind of understandable. But where it took a weird turn is I decided I was going to go back to school and I was going to do something completely different. I started listening to this guy, Jordan Peterson, who's kind of he's a controversial figure in news and in politics and stuff recently. I don't know too much about him other than he's a psychologist and he makes a lot of videos about psychology. And that was like kind of my introduction because I just listened to a lot of stuff about psychology while I'm working. That's just like my go-to thing. I listen to, well, I listen to a lot of things, not just psychology, but it just fell into my YouTube playlist, and something about like what he was doing really appealed to me. And I found myself hypnotized. Like now I wanted to be a psychologist. And it wasn't like too far out of left field because that's actually something that I wanted to pursue when I was younger too. And it was bizarre because like, I'll kind of go off on like a little bit of a tangent here, and I'm sure you could relate though. It's like there's people in your life that are like super supportive along your art journey, and then there's others that are like kind of supportive, but they don't really speak out much. And it was like at this time in my life when I was questioning whether I wanted to continue or not, it was those people, the ones that were kind of on the sidelines more than everything, that were suddenly like really excited. They're like, "Oh, you're going to quit and go to college? Sounds great. You can do it. I'm going to cheer you on." And so it made me start really feeling like, well, maybe I should do this. Like maybe it's time to, hang up my coat and try something else. I don't know, man, but like eventually, like after looking into it and really thinking about how much money that would cost and the time involved in actually being successful in something like that, and then just kind of coming to my senses, I was just like, the hell am I doing? Like, no, like I've done all this stuff, these last few years to like, pursue my dreams and build this, this new kind of life for myself around this, and now I'm just going to stop like right when it's going pretty good. Like that's crazy. That's just absolutely crazy. So my year was just bizarre, toss on top, everything else going on in the world, and it's just like it felt like a weird fantasy land. Like this wasn't reality this year. It was nuts. But
the one thing that kind of stuck out to me when you mentioned one of your goals is to get something to submit to heavy metal. I don't know the current state of heavy metal. I think then that one, I don't know, is it still owned by Eastman, Kevin Eastman, or?
Oh no, it's Grant Morrison now.
Oh, that's right. Did Kevin Eastman ever have anything to do with it?
I think he did actually.
Okay.
I want to say it was like maybe during the 90s or the 80s or 90s. I don't remember.
Okay. But I just think your art style would so fit into like heavy metal. That's when I look at your stuff, it looks like that's what it reminds me of, something along those lines. So
that's awesome.
I think that'd be really cool to see. So, but so now you're back fully invested in your art career and everything.
Oh yeah. To kind of like put a cap on that, like that. Like I'm back now more than ever. Like that was one of those situations where, all that reflecting was probably about as deep as I could ever go, away from art, and to kind of emerge from that and realize, whoa, no, wait, that is not the case. I feel even more emboldened to go forward on this journey with no more excuses, no more what ifs. I mean, I traveled as far down that other road as I could before I realized like all the different roadblocks in that path, and that I wouldn't actually be happy doing that anyways. Like it was one of those weird things that in a way I feel like it had to happen in order to fully commit to the path that I'm on now, you know.
Oh
Because
yeah.
I don't know, I'm sure a lot of people can relate. You know, you even when you commit to something, there's times when doubt kind of settles in a little bit, and this was one of those times that it just really took a hold of me, and I'm glad that that I had the support network that I do have, because you know at that time, even though there was that little group that was very vocal about going a different way, there was also a bigger group that was taken aback, like, wait a minute, what are you doing? This doesn't make sense. and and that felt good actually, because those were the people that I think were closer to me in my life now, you know. So it was it was a trip. I don't recommend it, but I'm glad it worked out all right.
Yeah, but like you said, sometimes you have to go through that to find out how much your art means to you. And the thing is, being an artist, I mean, it's not something that you can just push aside if you really want to. And that's the thing, you know, it's like for me, and I say this all the time, but there's like no plan B. I mean, I don't know how to really do anything else but art. And I've been lucky enough to be able to make a living at this. But, you know, if it was to just suddenly drop, I don't know, you know, what I would do, because I mean, I would figure something out, you know, just to survive or whatever. But this is all I've ever done. And it's like, and I think part of the reason why I'm able to do it is just because like I said, there's not really a fallback, and also it's all I want to do, and I just keep, you know, pushing at it, but it's not, you know, it's not an easy road to, you know, to go down, but, you know, and it's not easy to make a living doing art, but the people that are able to do it, it's because I think they just stick with it, and they just have. Well, I know if Corey Kerr was on, he did a whole video about not using the word passion, but I'm going to use it just for lack of a better word. He had some reasoning behind that. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but call it passion, call it whatever you want. But just this drive to, you know, to create, it's just not something for a lot of people that can put down. I know some people they take a break, but, you know, and you know, oh, it's just stop doing art. And for me, that's like, what? How do you do that? I can't see ever doing that. I mean, there's certain times where it's, or I guess I don't know how exactly you would define art, but just creativity. Because there's times that go by where maybe I'm not drawing as much, but I'm always doing something creative or working on, you know, my business, which is a creative business, or doing something that leads to, you know, doing more creative things. So, but I just, you know, it's not something that I can just give up. But, you know, it's unpredictable, because it's so kind of a weird, especially whether it's freelance or whether you're like me, where you've got a full-time job doing art, but then you're doing pretty much another full-time job after that, working on your own stuff. You can't, I mean, it's hard to kind of predict, you know, what's going to happen. Like, and I'm looking back at sort of some of the goals that I set this year, and it's kind of sad, because I look and it's like most of these goals I didn't accomplish, and there's some things that they're just kind of stupid goals, like things that aren't really measurable. Like for one, like I had a goal that I wanted to double my subscriber count on YouTube, but I don't have any control over that. I mean, all I can do things. I can do what I've been doing is, you know, more, you know, a better goal, which is something I did, but I didn't really write down to do this. I just did it, was make sure I put out at least one video every week, and there's a week hasn't gone by where I haven't put out a video.
That's nice.
Yeah, and that's not an easy thing. I mean, you've done YouTube videos. It's not, and it's just, you got to put that video out, or else if you don't put it out, then it's like, and if Josh was here, he can attest to this because he kind of did the thing. He's putting out his vlogs every day, and then he missed one, and then
that's it.
Then he wasn't doing any at all, but now he's back to doing vlogs and stuff. So yeah, you just got, it's one of those things you got to stick with. But regardless, even though I don't even know why, I just pulled that out of the air, double my subscriber count. How do you even do that? I mean, how do you, I mean, if you've watched YouTube enough, or, you know, seen YouTubers, you know that there's no rhyme or reason to, you know, gaining a following or whatever on YouTube. There's people that they can hit on some kind of video and all of a sudden, you know, they just blow up. There's people that have been doing it for a long time and putting out quality videos. It just takes longer, and you never know what that's going to be. So that's not anything that you can really make an actual goal and say, yeah, I'm going to double my subscriber count. But I can say I'm going to. That's a nice thing to hope for, maybe. But in order to do that, something more measurable, where I'll put out a video or two every week or whatever.
Yeah, something more tangible.
Yeah, but even saying that, I mean, I'm really happy with, you know, I'm like, I think 10 subscribers away from hitting 3,000 subscribers.
Holy
so
God.
that's, yeah, I mean, that's nothing to, and I think, because I did write this down, because when I was setting my goal or whatever, I wrote down kind of, you know, what I think I was, when I set that goal, I was at 17,070 subs. And then also, I think I also put this down. I put 160 average views the first week of upload. And I don't know. And see, that's a weird thing too, because my videos, like some videos get 50 views, some videos and then I've got some videos that have like 17,000 views. And so it's from video to video. I can't really say, I mean, I did put average views, but how do you measure that, you know? So yeah, some of these goals are just, I look back and I didn't really accomplish, in some ways, like the views. I mean, I guess in some ways, if you took all the views and then you took the, you know, if you averaged them out, then it might add up to double that or whatever. Or I don't even know, maybe that's the goal I was trying to hit. I don't know if that was the goal I was trying to hit, or the goal that, or what, where was that kind of before, but yeah, I mean, so that one, I guess you could say I failed, but I'm pretty happy with, I mean,
yeah, that's interesting.
3,000 subscribers is pretty cool, I think, for me. I mean, and it's all relative. I mean, so, like I said, some people can hit on something and they've only been doing, you know, I've seen people that just started making YouTube videos this year and they're already at like 10,000 subscribers. So, but it just that depends, you know, that you can't really count on that, but all you can do is put out quality stuff. And the other thing, you know, the other thing I started doing, and this wasn't one of my goals, but it should have been, was, you know, better thumbnails. I mean, all the things you can do to try to help, you know, increase, if you're trying to build a YouTube following or whatever, or descriptions, like I put descriptions in all my videos, the tags, every single one of my videos, I put about as many tags as I can figure out, and, you know, and all that kind of stuff I went through and kind of overhauled my channel. But this wasn't a goal, it's just something I did. So, I mean, I think the things that I didn't put down are the things that I'm more proud of myself for doing. But because before, yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say, those are kind of like maybe the things that should have been goals, because those are the more tangible things that kind of led to the result you were after.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can say it's all in service to that crazy idea of, I'll double my subscriber count or whatever. But that's just not a goal you can really set. I mean, just, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like saying, I want to make $10,000 this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How?
So, yeah, exactly. And that's how do you do that? I mean, and, you know, I think most people that are, you know, do goal setting and everything, that they'll tell you that you have this ultimate goal or whatever, but you have to break it down on how are you going to get to that goal. And I I didn't write all that stuff down. I mean, I was doing the work, but I didn't really write it down. I mean, I went through my YouTube, because before it was just, there's sometimes when you go to like YouTube channels, they don't, it's just like whatever, I don't know, they don't have their videos in play. Like all my videos are in playlist, and I mean, I just wanted everything to look nice. So when you go there, and I mean, basically anything that I can do, like if you go, like all my well, except for some of the newer ones, but most of my playlists have descriptions, you know, my about page is filled out, everything, you know, anything and everything that I can do. I did that. So that's, I mean, I think that kind of helped me grow the channel and everything, and hopefully it'll, you know, continue to grow. But yeah, so I mean, I think going forward next year, I want to really make some more tangible goals. But you know, and there's other things that that I didn't complete. You know, one of my goals, of course, was to finish issue 4 of Young and the Dead, which I haven't done yet. Hopefully, it won't be too much longer before I do that. But that one, you know, that one kind of fell by the wayside, even though I'm working on it. But I probably didn't. I mean, I said I was going to still work on you know, the 30 minutes a day, just like I was doing the 100 days of making comics. And for the most part, most of the year I was doing that, and then I kind of, you know, then I started doing other things, and sometimes it didn't work on that. So yeah, I don't know. But there's a lot of that stuff looking back that's like, huh, yeah, I didn't really accomplish what I said, but there's a lot of other things that I did that I'm happy that I did. So I don't know.
Did you find anything that like got in the way of any of your goals this year? Like anything specifically that you want to try to look out for next year?
Well, I started really getting into trying to build passive income streams. Mm-hmm. So even though that in the beginning, and that's probably a good point too, because your goals, I think it's okay for your goals to shift, because not that the comic book isn't important, it's super important to me, but you know,
it's not a big comic book and stuff. There's other factors, for sure.
Yeah, and it's not like a big money maker, and not that that's definitely not the reason why I do it, or else I wouldn't be doing it at all. But I started to get into making like these digital products that I've been selling on Creative Market, and I've done that, and they, to a certain degree, they're success. I mean, I put so much time into them. I guess if you broke it down, it probably technically wouldn't be worth it, but they're complete and they're up there, and you know, I'll get a sale here and there and everything, and you know, it's a nice little chunk of money, a nice surprise. But that's, you know, that's only one thing. I've got my online store, and you know, some of that is passive. The t-shirts they're all drop shipped. So if you order a t-shirt, I don't really even touch it. They just, you know, it sends it to the, you know, Printful, and they print it, and they ship it out and everything like that. So that part's passive. The prints and stuff, I do that myself. So that's not exactly passive. And passive is sort of this, you know, I think there can be truly passive income, but especially in the beginning when you're building all this stuff, you're putting so much time in it that it's not really
that passive.
But that's something I started getting into, and that's something I wanted to really focus on more, you know, moving forward, because all these little things that I have, it's like I've got, for instance, like now that I'm starting to get more views and everything on my YouTube channel, I'm starting to get money from AdSense, whereas before it was like it would take me a whole year, and then at the end of the year I might make $100. This month, I mean, and this might be because of the holidays or whatever, but now it's like now my AdSense is around $50 a month, and that's pretty nice. For, you know, yeah, the size of my channel and everything. That may drop because of, you know, it's the holidays, and a lot of my videos are like marketer reviews and things like that, so people are shopping and stuff like that. But that's one angle, and then also I've got like affiliate links. So if somebody looks at one of my marker videos or whatever, there's a link there to purchase the markers on Amazon, and if they purchase it through that, then, you know, there's a little money there, and that can add up. You know, I think I got like I don't know, it was close to $20 this month for that. So I mean, I mean, that can kind of show you like some of these, you know, big YouTubers. I mean, you can make some decent extra money, and that isn't really, again, that's not really totally passive when you consider that I'm putting a video out at least every week, and that takes time to do and stuff like that. So you're probably, if you say the amount of time I put in, if this was an actual job, the amount of time I put into doing a video versus say if I can earn $40 or $50 a month, it's probably not technically worth it, but it's building that foundation. And now that I've got a lot of this stuff set up, like I just launched another like t-shirt store with the pop culture stuff. So that's done. Now I'm not selling a lot of t-shirts on there yet, but I haven't really done any advertising. So I think one of the big things I really want to try to do next year, because I've got the foundation built. So the next step, I think, is to let people know about it,
Yeah.
And, because that's the hard part, is building all this stuff. But once it's built, you have it. And then if it's anything like, say, my Etsy store, where it took a long time to build and just do it the way I wanted to, where I've got tons of pictures, at least 5 pictures of every product. And I've got like, oh geez, I forgot how many SKUs I have on there. Plenty. I think it's like 50 to 60 some odd different products and everything. So it took a long time to build that, but I'm getting sales from that now. So It's just a little bit here, a little bit there. And I mean, it's compared to like, it's like this saying, don't quit your day job. I mean, I'm not even anywhere close to even where I could ever, do that. But it's nice to have all this stuff, and I can see moving forward where, where it could be something where I can make another, full-time living off of it if I stick with it, if I do it right. But you got to start, and that's kind of what you're doing, Mike. I mean, you've launched your store, and actually, I mean, based on what you're telling me, you're doing way better than I did when I launched my store. So
it's crazy. Yeah. Like I was the last time that I was on the show, I was talking about how I didn't know if I was doing bad or good, or how to interpret the sales and everything. And I'm down to 7 prints out of 25, and I'm hearing that that's pretty good. So I'm pretty grateful for how that's doing. And it was like, I don't know, to kind of reflect back on the year too, it was like kind of a really nice thing to have happen, and to have it go the way that it did, even if it doesn't continue that way. It was nice to see that I do have support doing this stuff, in that time when I was debating whether I should continue or not. It was, this analogy is maybe not the best because it's not exactly like this, but it's like that image that you see with like the person digging, in the ground. There's like 2 people, one on the top, one on the bottom, and the one gives up, and you can see through the dirt to see the diamonds like a foot away. It's kind of like that. It was like sort of one of those revelations of like, you really should just keep going, because you never know exactly how close you are to the next thing that you're trying to get to, And and that's what opening the store was for me, was that. And I remember actually talking to Gaz at the time when I was thinking about quitting, and moving on to doing the psychology stuff. And something that he had said to me was, it was brutally honest, but it totally helped me reframe my mind to kind of put things into perspective. He was like, all right, well, I mean, if you want to go and quit art and be a psychologist, that's fine. I totally support whatever it is that you want to do, but just, know that if you do that, you can't look back on all of this and say that you gave it your best shot, because you never opened your store, you never tried to sell anything, you never went to any cons, and you never finished your comic. So go ahead and be a psychologist, but don't go and be a psychologist and then also say, oh, I tried the art thing, but it just didn't work out. Because you don't know if it would have worked out yet or not. And I was like, damn it, that's too logical. He's right. So yeah, to kind of tie it back, I guess, to last week's episode, there's a little bit of fear playing in there probably. And yeah, working through it was a good thing. But sorry, I got a little bit off topic, but I wanted to address something that you said about, you know, you're building up all these different products, and like you especially, Scott, you have so many cool things, you know, and with just everything that you do. And I always hear like that the trick is to just keep making a bunch of stuff, just do what you love to do and just keep producing, because at some point somebody's going to like something that you've done, and then they're more apt to go and check out your backlog. You know, they're more apt to look at everything else that you've got. So like you were saying, it's a lot of work right now and maybe little payoff in the immediate time period, you know, but somewhere down the line, if one thing hits, it's going to set off like firecrackers, you know. And that's kind of like the way that I'm looking at it going into all of this, is like I've got to make a comic, and the first comic, you know, it might not do great, maybe it'll do okay, but it's not even about the first comic. It's about like the fifth one or the sixth one or the 10th one or whatever, you know. Just building that up, and hopefully someday, you know, you'll actually be able to set that all up to where you do have some sort of passive income stream to pay for all the hard work that you're doing now, you know.
Yeah, and it's difficult to know. I mean, you're never going to know when something's going to hit.
Yeah,
and it's like that's the scary thing, because you can put a lot of time in, like say with YouTube or whatever. There's a lot of people that I think would have quit, you know, doing if they put as much effort into, like, I think the people that want to be YouTube stars, you know,
oh yeah,
if they I don't know how long I've been on YouTube, over probably at least 3 years, maybe more, constantly. I mean, I don't think in that whole time I took hardly any weeks off, but, you know, especially during the 100 days and stuff like that. But I think there's a lot of people that kind of are in that camp where, you know, I want to be YouTube star or YouTube famous or whatever. I think if they put as much time as I put into this, and didn't have like 100,000 subscribers or 50,000 subscribers or something like that, I think they would have given up, because I think their goal is something that, you know, they're not doing it because they like it. I mean, it's nice that I'm actually now starting to, you know, earn a little bit of money on this, and, you know, but that I didn't even care about that until I mean, it's just recently that I realized, like, hey, that's kind of cool, you know, but that wasn't the plan. I mean,
right.
You know, I mean, the plan is to build up an audience and to let people find me, and hopefully they'll be into my art and stuff like that. But as far as the you know, Google AdSense and all that kind of stuff, that's not, you know, that's just sort of a little perk, you know, because my main goal is to, you know, I want to sell my products, and I want to, you know, I want to build a fan base and stuff like that. So, but, you know, you never know when something's going to hit, like you said. And, you know, the more stuff you put out there, and it may be, you know, I've never had anything go viral or anything that like super successful, but if you keep putting things out, then who knows what's going to hit. And as long as you're just not putting things, you don't want to put things out just because, oh, I think it might. I think, you know, whether it's, say if I wasn't into, I don't know what's big right now, something that has a lot of fans that I don't really know too much about, like, I don't know.
Pokemon, or Pokemon still cool?
Well, yeah. Well, you asked my kids, my son in particular. Yeah, Pokemon's still cool to him. So, but yeah, that's the thing. So, say Pokemon. I mean, I'm not into Pokemon. My kids are very into Pokemon, but if I was just doing Pokemon, and then all of a sudden it hit, and then, well, now I guess I got to do Pokemon. So as long as you're doing something you want to do, and right. Then if something catches on, then that's great. And maybe at that point you want to shift more of your focus into doing something like that. So I don't know. I'm still, you know, I'm still putting little things out there and everything, and I'll just kind of have to see what happens. But I sort of, you know, I look at the YouTube channel and kind of see what people are gravitating to, and it's a weird thing because, like, for most people, a lot of people, and like even like I listened to Roberto Blake and everything, and he did a real quick channel review on my channel, and basically he kind of told, you know, a lot of his, I mean, most of his advice is just, I mean, I believe in a lot of what he says, and a lot of that is stuff that I've implemented, and I think that's why my channel's starting to grow and everything. But you know, when he looked at my channel, one of the things he always says for art channels is, you know, do what's popular, do fan art or whatever like that. And but whenever it seems like whenever I do fan art, it just it doesn't get, people don't care as much about it as they do when I'm doing my original stuff, which is awesome to me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know, or you know, it's a lot of times the product reviews, which I like doing because I like testing out different, especially markers, because I like marker rendering and stuff like that. But yeah, those type of videos and my comic book videos usually get more views than any fan art that I do. And I'll still do fan art from time to time when something like new Star Wars comes out or something, just because I like doing that. But I think it's a weird thing because I think moving forward, I want to do more comic-oriented videos. I want to, you know, and more, I think more tutorial type things, like teaching people like different aspects of creating comics or whatever like that. Because something that's more, you know, that's going to be helpful to an audience. Yeah. But I think most of the people that watch my videos, I think a lot of them are into comics. And even though comics isn't, you know, it's not like the big seller, like I don't think I can make a living off of making my comics. Maybe at some point, if I put it, well, even then I can't make a living, but I could maybe make a decent amount of extra money. Like say when I finish the trade, and if I really start promoting and everything, maybe I can do that. But there's still a lot of people that, you know, I can, you know, that follow me that like comics. So I want to focus a little more about that. I'm doing my, you know, digital products, and going forward, I want to do more digital products for comic book creators, whether it's comic book fonts, whether it's brushes, whether it's, you know, comic book backgrounds or whatever. And you know, something that you've done that you're ahead of me that I haven't started yet is the Patreon. But that's something I'd like to offer. You know, I'd like to be able to offer like, you know, a brush pack or something like that with a, you know, Patreon or whatever. But I think for that type of thing, in order to sort of build an audience, and also I need to start building a mailing list. And you can do that by offering products, you know, digital products. So I want to start doing more stuff for comic book creators. So moving forward, I want that, I think you'll see more of that for my channel, but also more, I really want to do these more like art experiments, more of the science, you know, because it's the whole, you know, Serkworks Art Labs. I want to do more like experimenting with just unusual art supplies and just more fun stuff. But a lot of that takes a lot of time to set up and everything to do a video. So, but that's something I definitely want to do moving forward. So these are just some of the plans that I'm thinking about. But it's all just kind of looking back at last year and kind of see where things are going. And you got to do that when you start putting up stuff. What are people liking? Like, I mean, you've done really well with your space cat print, which for me, I think if I put a Young and the Dead print out, I don't think it would sell that well. So it's cool that you're selling the space cat prints and everything. So.
Yeah, that really blows me away. That's really, really cool. I'm really digging that people are digging the Space Cat thing, especially because it wasn't really like a direct kind of print, you know, it was like a B-movie parody print too, so it was even more obscure. Yeah. So yeah, I'm overjoyed at how well that did. I've gotten some cool feedback too from people who've got it already, and like, you know, they've either hung it up in their house or whatever, and it's really cool. It's cool to see that people really enjoy it.
Yeah, and I wish it had wall space for prints and stuff like that.
I know, I'm starting to run out myself, actually. Buying a lot of them lately. But you know, you said something actually about you know, wanting to do your Patreon because that could help, you know, other artists and stuff. And it's interesting because a lot of the issue that I was having in the middle of the year, where I was going to kind of call it quits, it wasn't because, I mean, it had a little bit to do with making a living and a little bit to do with wanting security in the future and stuff, which I think everybody thinks about no matter what you're doing. But the main thing was that I was starting to question whether or not my art and my work could actually help people or actually like do anything for them, you know, to help them in their lives. Like, that's actually something that's very important to me. Like, whatever I'm doing, I want it to be meaningful, you know? And so a lot of the reason I picked psychology was I was like, well, that's like the most direct way that I could possibly think of to like help somebody. People come to you and they have a problem and you help them, you know? But it wasn't until like you know, kind of coming out of the fog that I realized that art does help people and can help people, you know, and especially if they're connected to it and they really enjoy what you're doing. It's like what you're doing is having just as much of an impact on their life as it is your own, you know? So sometimes even just putting things out into the world, it becomes something that someone looks forward to. And, you know, that's, I think probably out of every takeaway that I could have this year, that was probably the biggest takeaway of all was just this sort of, um, like validation that art matters, you know, and that it is important and that it does directly impact people, or that it can at the very least, you know, maybe not everything, but it can, and that's a worthy pursuit, you know, I think.
Yeah, and you know, and also just being sort of involved in the community that's
Mhm.
helping out, and the stuff that you've done, basically kind of taking over, you know, the 100 Days of Making Comics and getting the, you know, getting the URL and all the stuff that you've done for that. I mean, that's
Well,
something that.
I'm not taking over. I'm just keeping the
Well,
seat warm. Just keeping the seat warm.
right, right, right.
But
But
yeah,
I don't think Kevin would mind so much if he took over, if he did take over.
well, you know, that's actually, yeah, joking aside, that's exactly why I got a little more involved, you know, when I came back too, is because that is a place where, you know, I can help and at least, if not help, at least like provide some kind of, uh, just, I don't know, guidance. I don't know what the right word would be, but, you know, just someone that's keeping everything active and moving and turning, you know, it's even just that little bit, posting in the group or announcing people's names when they join and things like that is it's reinvigorated the group, honestly. It's been pretty nuts. We've had a lot more people joining, and we had a big influx of people joining earlier in the year, but
Yeah,
as far as like the members joining compared to members participating, not so much. But recently it seems everyone that's joining knows exactly what the challenge is about. They know what everyone who's come before has done, and they're ready, and they're ready to give it their all, and that just creates a whole different kind of vibe, you know, for me and for a lot of other people that I've talked to that have done the challenge before, been around for a little while. It's very reminiscent of when Kevin first started the challenge, or the first couple of years, you know, where it really is a challenge and it's a little hardcore, you know, and a little
yeah,
unforgiving. But I think people are responding to that more because that actually benefits you in your life, you know, like there's been quite a few people that have joined that, you know, everyone does their own thing, and it's not to disparage anybody who's done the challenge in a different way, but I have found, and I'm sure you could relate, that when you do it every single day, that has profound effects on you by the end of it. It's way different than just taking a break here or there, or just doing 100 days, you know, eventually. It's way different when you do it all in a row. It has such a profound effect by the time that you're done, that it's like it changes you, I feel.
oh,
And
oh, definitely.
that's helpful to people. That's really helpful, you know. So to be a part of that community and to be somebody who's active that can encourage that for others, I mean, that's like how you couldn't ask for anything more. It's amazing, you know. And that's where kind of like learning from this year moving forward, I'm trying to reframe the way that I look at some things, because sometimes I can look at my either my art or myself, my personality itself. I can be very, very critical and really just pull out all the negatives and things that I would rather change or that I would rather do or whatever. But in this case, I was able to reframe something. And instead of feeling like I wasn't able to help people with what I'm doing, I was able to do a little thing, and it does. And now that's a good thing moving forward and something I can be happy about, and I can feel more fulfilled, you know, because if I've learned anything at all from this year, it's that whatever you're doing has to be in line with like your your calling, I guess, for lack of a better word, like whatever your main thing is, whatever you want out of what it is that you're doing. At least for me, that's what I've found. It's so important. So if it's helping people, then whatever else you're doing has to be in line with that somehow. The stories you tell have to be something that someone can get something out of. You know, they can't just be like self-serving. You know, they have to be
Yeah.
something that people can, you know, either laugh at, enjoy, whatever it is that you want to be doing. That needs to be injected into everything else that you do. That was like number one lesson from this year.
Yeah, Abe Sapien kind of echoes that sentiment. He says, right on with your art, makes a difference, reaches people across the board. So
Nice. Yeah.
oh,
Yep.
and then Chris Mendoza, who's been on the show before, he said he just submitted to join the 100s. I would love to see him do that challenge.
Yeah. All right. We'll review your application.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would love to see him do a comic. He's
Cool.
Yeah. If you've seen him on the show before, he's done some awesome stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna have to put some pressure on him. I'd love to see him do that challenge. So
cool, for sure.
Yeah. We can need to get. So I have to admit that I've sort of been out. I don't know. Like, are there many people currently doing it? I really need to go in and check. That's what I should do, because I usually listen to YouTube videos as I'm working as I'm at work, and sometimes I'm like, my friends aren't putting out videos, so I need to find some new people. So I'm curious, are there anyone currently how many people are currently doing it?
There's a bunch.
Really? Awesome.
Yeah, I want to say there's at least 5, maybe even more going on now.
Yeah.
Chantry Phillips, he actually just started doing his again. He's doing a cool kind of idea where he's making a tabletop game, and
cool.
To develop the world, he's making a comic to explain that story of that world. So he's doing the challenge. Ron Jones is more than halfway through. He's been doing really good. I think he took a couple breaks. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% clear, but even still, he's been really, for the most part, doing every day and doing really awesome. Who else? Chris Isaacson. This kid, oh my gosh, this was cool. So he started the challenge, and he wasn't entirely sure like exactly how the rules were or whatever. So he was doing it for a little bit, like I think 2 or 3 weeks. But he was taking weekends off, and he was talking to somebody in the hangout, and they were like, "Oh, well, maybe talk to Mike and see what he says about the rules or whatever," which is always funny to me, because I'm always like, just defer to Kevin. Like, it's Kevin's challenge, check it out. But we actually convinced him to start over, and he's been doing it like every single day since. He's on day 17 now, and we weren't pressuring him or anything. He just decided that, well, since everybody else, did it like that, then that's the way that I want to do it. I was like, right on, man. That's the spirit. That's what the challenge is all about. Do it every day. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it. And he's been doing great.
Yeah. And so Chris at Little Ninja Studios wanted to know if it can be a web comic. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, it can be a web comic. It can be any kind of comic you want, really. So yeah.
Yeah, the rules we have are just based off of what Kevin has said in his videos. It's just it has to be like a personal project, or at least some sort of independent project. We've had a few people that are working like in a team, with like an artist and a writer or something like that. And, just it has to be something that you want to be making time for, that you haven't been making time for. And that's that. Just do it at least 30 minutes a day for 100 days and you're gold.
Yep.
Other than that, I don't think there's many rules,
Yeah.
It's pretty loose.
The rules are super easy. It's the actual work that's the hard part.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Especially if you see all the videos and stuff from people who've already done the challenge and gotten used to doing editing and stuff, then you got people that come along and feel like, oh no, I have to make a super produced video too. And it's like, no, don't do it.
No, yeah, you don't.
Don't fall into that trap.
Yeah, don't. But having said that, I think that I don't know if I'd want to do it again, but I think that especially that second round, I really put a lot into like editing that and doing like almost a lot of them were like try to do the vlog and I film a lot of B-roll and everything. I'm glad I did it, but the thing is, that kind of stuff really helped me. It's funny because looking back, like my brother, he does some editing. He went to film school and stuff like that, so he does editing, and he would always edit these, you know, videos for like of the kids and stuff for their birthdays, and he'd show them on their birthdays, just, you know, old like family video footage and stuff, and edit all that stuff together. And you know, a few years ago, if I would have wanted to do something like that, I would have had to, you know, say, hey, can you help me out, edit this or whatever. And it's weird because like I can do that myself now. It's crazy to think that I could do that myself, and before I had no idea how to do that. And it's all because of YouTube, you know. It's
oh, especially the 100 days, because I've seen your earlier 100 days too, and you did a lot of like really cool kind of like skit sort of stuff, and you had some costumes with like a jetpack and a couple of them. And like that's kind of what I did when I was doing mine too, and it like
that was I remember those were awesome.
I had like a whole bank of clips and stuff that I was using by the end of it. It became like I don't know, like a fun little side project just to make a video. Oh, Adam was asking, does it have to be one project or can you switch to other stuff? I think most people stick to one, but I'd say, because I know Adam and I know what he works on, and he works on a lot of different strips and stuff. So I think
first of all, Adam, you know, you've done this enough. You know what it's all about. I think he's asking for other people.
Yeah. I think it's okay to switch, you know, as long as it's still comics and you're still making progress and it's not like, you know, tripping you up to the point where you're not finishing anything. Because that can happen too, but I'd say use your best judgment.
So let's see. So I think I put down some notes just as far as like looking back and goal setting and things like that. So I probably mentioned most of this. I thought I had I don't know what that little piece of paper is. I did, let's see. Yeah, maybe I touched on most of this stuff. So I don't know, based on kind of, I'm sure we'll talk about this more probably when we come back from our break, but I don't, so what are some of you, what are you going to change looking back? I mean, obviously, one thing you probably don't want to do is take a big break from doing artwork.
Definitely not.
but moving forward, what are some of your ideas as far as what do you want to kind of focus on?
All right. Well, let's see. The main thing, the number one thing that I'm focused on for this next year is finishing issue 1 of Space Cat for sure. Cool. Like that's top of my list. I've got the script out again. It's plastered on my wall right now. I'm going at it in a different way now too, because now that we've done the anthology book, I've just gotten a lot better with time management, which isn't saying much because I was terrible with it before, but I feel just a tiny bit more confident making plans and somewhat more realistic goals. So I'm looking to complete the script within a reasonable amount of time, and I'm looking to finish issue 1 before the end of the year, like for sure before the end of the year. I have a couple other things too, like I want to finish that comic to submit to Heavy Metal. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to fit in, like schedule wise. Am I going to do that, you know, maybe after I write the Space Cat script and then, you know, deviate for a little bit, or will I do that after I finish issue 1? Not sure yet. I also want to, I started these mini comics. I don't think I showed anybody yet because I'm just shipping them out with all of my prints actually, but they're Space Cat and Friends mini comics. They're like really tiny, you know, like a mini comic, like fold an 8.5 by 11 into fourths, and it's like 1/4 of a page big, and they're just short little. They're basically like comic strips. They have a beginning and an end right there on the page, and I'm really enjoying them. So I'm trying to do one of those every month, so that anytime anyone orders from me, they'll get a new page. So I'm going to try and get at least 12 of those done this year, and I think that's it. I'm sure there's some little things like business related kind of things, because I do want to try to make my store a more active kind of place. I definitely want to make that something that doesn't feel so awkward. You know, like right now, I'm going from a shift of being extremely self-conscious, extremely, you know, even like what's it called, self-deprecating, like to the point where, you know, I just you basically feel worthless, and like I shouldn't share any of this. I shouldn't ask anybody to even look at this. I'm lucky that anybody likes it. I'm going from that mindset to like trying to sell stuff, and so it's a real awkward shift, and I can't help but feel like I'm really putting on the pressure when I'm asking people to come to the store. So I want to try to get more comfortable with that, so that it's just out there. It's just a reality, and when I finish work, people just know to go there, and it's not so much I have to shove it in people's faces kind of thing, you know, because people have asked me for a long time if I'm selling prints or if they could get a print of this or that, and I've never followed through with it, never made it available. So I've kind of hurt that relationship, you know. So now I need to open the doors so that people do know that when I've made something, they can have it too, you know. So yeah, I don't know. This year is going to be really just about getting my groove back, making my comics, getting more comfortable with this whole art store thing, and just not taking 3-month breaks anymore.
Well, the fact that you've sold some prints and things, that's got to be somewhat a little bit of an ego boost, so you can hopefully take that and move forward with that, because that is the hard part, you know. It's like, you know, in the beginning, it's like, well, what right do I have to put things out there for sale?
Right.
You know, and
yep.
And then people actually want it, and then you're like, oh, well, I'll put some more things out.
Freaks me out. It really freaks me out, but it's cool. It feels like it's something that I should be doing too. So
yeah.
About you, what kind of changes are you looking at from this year to next year?
So, well, yeah, I mean, obviously the finishing up issue 4 of Young and the Dead, that's a big one.
Right.
And like I said, I mean, the other, and with Young and the Dead comes a Kickstarter. So Kickstarter, and then yeah, Patreon. Although, so I don't. Now I'm trying to think. I mean, because now Kickstarter's doing their own version of Patreon. So I don't know. I don't know if it's because I've got people that I haven't looked into it at all, but I don't know, because I haven't started Patreon, but you know, because I have run a Kickstarter, and after I do another one, I don't know if that would make sense to check out the Kickstarter thing, or focus on Patreon, or I don't think at my level, I don't think both would be a good idea. There's certain things that I say, you know, put whatever, like as far as t-shirt companies, like I say, well, put your design, like which t-shirt companies should you put your designs on? Should I put it on Redbubble? Should I put it on Designed by Human? Should I put it on Threadless? For something like that, I say put them on all of them, you know. Although, you know, sometimes it makes more sense to maybe to put it on one and focus on that as far as letting people know about it. But there's certain things, like I don't know about maybe doing when you're asking people to, you know, support you or something like that. I don't know if it makes a lot of sense, at least at my level. I mean, if you're at like a huge level and you've run tons of Kickstarters, then and you already have a Patreon, then it probably doesn't hurt to, you know, do. I forgot do you know what the name of the Kickstarter version of Patreon is? I forgot what it's called.
I think it's called Drip.
Drip, right. So yeah, I don't know if it would make sense to look into Drip instead of Patreon, just because I've already had people that have backed me, you know, on there. I don't know if that, you know, I'm not sure, you know, but you know, that's something I'll have to look at. But Patreon or Drip or something like that, to create something like that, like you know, that's something I want to do. But then I've got a lot of, I don't know, I've got a lot of friends on Patreon that, you know, I'd like to, and I don't know, I'm totally against, and maybe you can answer this, Mike, but so I'm totally against like sub for subs, like if somebody like, sub to me, you know, but I don't know, but it seems like with Patreon that might, I don't know if there's such a negative vibe to that, because there's people out there that I want to support and that would probably want to support me. So I don't know if it would make sense. And I think because it with Patreon, I think it looks, even if it's just if it just evens out where you give a friend $5 a month or $1 a month or whatever, and you do the same return, or they do the same return. I think in the beginning it probably looks better on your Patreon to have some sort of a Patreon, a number of backers.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something that would make sense to do.
That's what I heard, and I talked to a social media. I don't know if he's still doing this or if he would feel comfortable with me talking about it, but I did talk to a social media guy, I'll just say, who works specifically with comic people. And he actually advises that you do exactly that you try to get as many friends as possible to do sub for sub on Patreon, because apparently people are much more attracted to creators who already have a following. It's like a psychological sign that this is something to get in on. And having done Patreon now and having done sub for sub with a few people, although quite a few people just it was just a bad year for a lot of people. So a lot of creators that I was doing sub for sub with quit Patreon temporarily, not for not forever, but just for right now. But anyways, the way that the payment system works on Patreon is it actually, you won't get charged any fees or anything like that. It kind of already accounts for all that sort of exchange on Patreon itself. So you have like a balance, and then you have like the amount that you're going to pay, and then it subtracts it right there on the site before it goes through all the fees and stuff from like your bank and PayPal and all of that. So it really is like $1 for $1, for example, if you did want to do that. Because I was concerned about that when I first started, because there's like a variable fee. It's like anywhere from like 5 to 50%, it seems. This year was weird. There was times that like they took a lot out of the payout. But the sub for sub thing comes out right from the start, so it's viable.
Because a lot of people do compare Patreon to like a tip jar, and that's the way it is with tip jars. I mean, people will put money in the tip jar to make it look like, oh, other people have put money in. So, and I don't know. Sometimes it seems like it's out of guilt, because I'm that tip jar thing is weird depending on where it is. Like there's certain things that it's certain things like when you go to get food, but it's just like a fast food thing type, thing. And it's like, not that those people aren't working hard, but typically you tip when somebody brings something to your table.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, do it. And especially when it's on the receipt, like leave a tip. And then I feel guilty, like if I don't put a tip, and it's like, but what do I put? What is it really worth? I mean, it's, do I put a whole $1 for a sandwich that cost me $5? I mean, it's just like, but I mean, I don't want to just put 25 cents, and sometimes so that thing's kind of weird, but I guess that's a whole different story. But just the fact that in order to kind of make it look like people are tipping, they put money in the tip jar, because you go to a place for breakfast and it just opens up and the tip jar's already full. I'm like, no, you put that money in there, just to make it look like other people are doing it. So you'll chip in. So I assume it's kind of that same thing,
Yeah. Which I guess that makes sense, it brings attention to it. But the flip side to that, and kind of where I have a little bit of a problem with it, is then it makes it difficult to kind of calculate what it is that you're trying to accomplish with your Patreon, because you could set different goals. And so, you set like a goal for a specific amount that you're trying to get money for. Like, for example, if we hit this goal, then I can afford to do this. So then I can do this extra thing on my Patreon, And I feel like if you have too many people that are just there filling the tip jar, that the amount that you have to set is kind of dishonest then, because then it's like, well, I need this, but actually it's this plus the 10 people that are just sub for sub, It's a little weird. So I don't know exactly how I feel about it. I'd much rather just have all fans of my work, because that's really what it's all about. But to start it up, I've heard that it definitely can't hurt to do that.
Yeah, and I've even heard people saying, "Oh, just get your mom to sub or throw in a few there or whatever, or, whatever."
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's
Create another account.
yeah, that's kind of all new to me, but so that's definitely one of the things I want to do, in the moving forward in the next year. The other one
Yeah.
is, I still want to pursue more of the digital products, and like I said, in addition to selling them on Creative Market, I also want to take bits and pieces of those and being able to offer those as either rewards for like a Patreon or for joining a mailing list or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I mean, a lot of that stuff's already partially done. Like I've launched 2 of those avatar builders. I've launched the zombie builder one and the robot builder one, and I've got the monster one that's pretty much all done. I've just got to do a little. I don't see. There's still a lot of things I don't know about that market because I was going to launch. I mean, the other one's almost ready to go, but then I was thinking, this isn't like a Christmas type shopping thing. I'm just wondering if, like, because I know my job where we have catalogs and we sell rubber stamps. Like, Christmas isn't our big selling month for whatever reason, even though it's a product. You think just people buy stuff, but I think because a lot of people host parties and stuff, they just don't do as many because they're busy with the holidays, which might be part of it. So I didn't know if it was the same with like digital products, because people are usually buying them for, a lot of people that buy that stuff are like graphic designers or people like that have Etsy stores or whatever that are kind of building products, which, I don't know during Christmas if it's a good time. I just kind of told myself without any knowledge or any research at all that maybe it's best just to wait for the new year to launch the next one. So, so I don't know, but anyway, so that's what I'm going to do. And then I've got a couple other that are, about 70 to 80, 90% done, and I'll launch those. And then I want to start getting into like the comic book, products and things like that. So, but that's something I want to do. And again, just sort of marketing. I'm going to try to put money aside to actually let people know about this stuff, whether it's, maybe try some of the Facebook ads or whatever, and just see what happens, I just, and also, and I always say this, and I haven't really done it yet, but like trying to market my, my mad scientist stuff to people who are not just artists, but to people that are, either, science teachers or into science or scientists themselves or whatever. Try to find a way to reach them because they're really not the people that are going to watch art videos. So that's a whole other market. It's probably the best market to go after. I just haven't done it yet. So it's like, again, spending the time. I've been spending the time building all this stuff, but now I got to let people know about it. So
yeah.
So that's I think that's the main thing sort of moving forward. But there's, I can kind of go back, like I'm just right now looking at my goals for this year that I didn't accomplish. But again, I did different things, and there's still some things that I'd like to do. Like one of my goals was I really want to put together an art book.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
So yeah, that's that's something that's something I really want to do. And I probably have enough art to put it together, but there's a lot I want to do with the graphic design of the book. And, the idea, of course, would be that it's, robots, aliens, and other imminent threats to humanity. So those would be there'd be a section with robots and then zombies and so forth. So, that's kind of, I definitely want to do that. So, but see, with comics, I can do my comic in black and white and everything, but I think with this, I'd want to do that in color, and that can get super expensive. And I don't know if I have I don't know. I mean, my Kickstarter was successful with the comic, but I don't know. I would have to ask for a lot more to do a color art book. And I'm just curious. I don't know if my fan base is something that could support something like that the way it is now. I mean, maybe you don't know. I mean,
you might be surprised, you know.
Yeah, I might be. I mean, very well could be. I don't know. Especially, you know, if it's a really nice book, but it's almost, I don't even know, you know, I'd have to look into see, because with the comic book, if it didn't fund successfully, it's something that I could afford to put together myself, you know, through like, you know, Kemble or something like that. Whereas I don't know to do like, I don't know. Maybe, I mean, it would just be a lot more expensive. So I don't know if I could do that the way I wanted to if it didn't fund. So, but that's one thing that I didn't get around to doing. The other thing is I wanted to do this. I still kind of like to do this, but I wanted to do like a mad scientist planner. So it would just be,
cool.
It was basically just be like a day planner, but kind of tongue in cheek, like, you know, how to take over the world, or these are your goals to take over the world, but it would be an actual planner. So that's something I'd still like to do, but didn't get around to it. You know, just a lot of the stuff, but it's, you know, I've also got down here, I don't know how many times I put this on my list, and then I start doing it, then I just go back to traditional stuff, but I put Learn Manga Studio.
Oh man, that's been on my list for a while too.
So yeah, I mean, there's some stuff I did, like let's see, I got under here, I've got upgrades to Underground Lair, and so most of these are checked. Some of these are checked off. So I did like the vacuum tubes, like the Vaculux. I think that, I guess I didn't realize. It seems like I had that for a while, but I guess I did that this year.
Wow, that was this year.
I guess it's on my list, and I've got it crossed out. And that includes like the canister and all that stuff.
Wow, I could have sworn that was like last year.
Huh. Yeah, there's some like miniature mail props, like the little packages that go in there, and all that stuff. And
that stuff was so cool. The first time I saw it, I was like, I didn't know how you did it. I didn't know if he really made something little, or if it was like, oh, that was so cool.
So yeah, there's stuff, and there's a list, and there's still some other things that I want to get to that probably shouldn't mention because it's sort of a surprise. But that one of the videos I want to do is, I really want to do a studio tour. So I want to do like a you know, a tour of the Mad Scientist Lair, and I want to make it, I wanted to sort of expand it. So even though like where I'm at right now, where all my computer stuff is, I'll probably put some stuff up to make it look like it's the Underground Lair, so I can show off. Basically, I want to show off, you know, just doing that, because a lot of people really those art studio tours tend to do pretty well on YouTube. People really, and I can see why, because I love looking at people's studio, and I think mine would be interesting enough, you know, just with the Underground Lair, that it might be a successful video, and it'd be fun to do. So, and the other thing about those videos is they typically run pretty long, and of course, the longer you can have people watch one of your videos, the better it is. So. So that's one thing I want to do. Definitely one of the first, and I just want to do some really cool videos and things like that. And I'd like to do some more collabs and things like that. So that's some of the stuff that's on there. Let's see, but yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff on there. There's stuff I don't even want to go into, because like again, this is everyone's list, I'm sure, but like get like lose weight and stuff like that, which I was doing really well, and I haven't gained back all the weight that when I started, but I wanted to lose more than where I was at, and I think I've gained a few pounds since then. So, you know, I did pretty well with that last year, so hopefully I'll be able to get back into that. But
yeah,
it's all a balancing act, you know. It's like,
oh yeah,
how do you find time? Because I still, you know, when I can, I still, you know, go jogging in the morning and things like that. It's like I haven't totally dropped off, but I just not as diligent. And it's the same thing like what we were talking about before with 100 Days of Making Comics, or putting out YouTube videos. Like with the YouTube videos, like I said, I didn't want to take a break because I know that if I do that, then I'm going to fall off. So I didn't, but I didn't put that same, I didn't put those same stipulations on the, the working out and stuff like that. So even though, I still do it from time to time, it's like, it's not an everyday thing, which it probably, somehow I got to make that happen. But it's, the good time for me to go jogging is in the morning and stuff, but it's always like, oh, I've got to get this thing done. So I've got to do it in the morning before I go to work instead. And then the jogging and stuff has to take a back seat. So I don't know. I just gotta figure, I guess better at, just kind of better at organizing all this stuff. But the one thing that I did a lot of was just work around the house. I mean, like, I'm trying to purge a lot of, I just got so much stuff in this house and home improvements, and I've been putting in flooring and stuff myself. So that takes some time, but I know that's not super interesting for anyone that came to hear art talk, but it's like you find, I mean, it's like, there's never a time where I'm like very sedentary. I'm always doing something, but maybe if I can I've got a lot of this home improvement stuff. Some of that, there's still some stuff I have to do, but if I can take that off my list of things to do, then hopefully that'll open up some more time to do some more art related stuff. So yeah,
that's important. You got to take care of life too.
Yeah.
I have quite a few of those like life goal kind of stuff going into next year too. Like exercise is a big one. That's a huge one. I really fell off that this year, which is really disappointing. I tried, but there was like it's a stupid story. There's a weird guy with a weird dog on the path that I used to jog at. And he's like, he just threatens people and sends the dog after people, and they can't do anything about it. Like, I think something's definitely wrong with him for sure. But yeah, so I stopped jogging that way.
Well, yeah, I might do that
too. And I could go a different way, but I have to cross the street to get there, and it's a really busy street. So there's times when I'll be sitting there for like 10 minutes, just waiting to get across the street. So that kind of kills your momentum. It kills the time that it takes too, because it used to be just a really quick, like 15 minutes to get to the end of the path going the one way, and then 15 minutes back. So that was like a half hour of exercise. But now it could be up to like 45 to like an hour now, because I got to wait at that stupid intersection going one way and then coming back the other way. So it was a mild annoyance. It wasn't like worth quitting doing the jogging, but that is why I stopped doing it. So
that's weird.
But I got to find a different solution this year. So I have this little bench that I built that's just kind of, I don't know, I use it to put stuff on sometimes, or we used to use it when we would grill outside to kind of like sit on, because we have a little hibachi grill. It's really low to the ground. But we haven't been doing that for the last couple of years. So I brought it in and cleaned it up and revarnished it. And so just today I started using it as kind of like a Stairmaster kind of thing. So it's sort of like my replacement for jogging now. I'm going to try and at least do something like that and do my stretches and stuff like I used to, and just be active, trying not to make any excuses. So, and then when the path is clear, I can go and do jogging again, but at least now there's something else that I can use when I can't do that.
Yeah. Well, so I was thinking, and I guess we didn't talk about this, but I was thinking as far as time management for you, I know last year, a lot of your time was going towards the stop motion thing. And now that's kind of off the table. And that was the other weird thing, is it seems like that you finally decided to quit the stop motion thing, which was going to open all this time. And then that's when you kind of, after that, it seemed like that's when you decided to take a break from doing art altogether. So now that you're back to doing art, you don't have that big project over your head. Hopefully that'll, allow you some more time to work on your, comics or whatever else,
Yep. Yeah, definitely. And that's funny that you said that too, because yeah, that's something that I didn't even consider at the time, but it is really weird to think about. Like, oh yes, finally I got my time back. I'm gonna do something else instead. But yeah, unfortunately, the stop motion set is back in our kitchen again. I was gonna sell it, but that fell through, and it ended up coming back. But at least it's just, it's on my terms now. It's not, there's nothing attached to it anymore. Really, I just have to decide what I'm going to do, if I'm going to get rid of it or if I'm going to put it into storage again or whatever. But yeah, that's a huge relief. Absolutely huge relief. Because I mean, I'm sure you know, because you've done a lot of freelance stuff where it's like, it's always on the back of your mind, even when you're working on other stuff. It's like you still have this other thing that you're beholden to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that thing is over with finally.
So I was just going to type something. I'll just say, I know this isn't super interesting for anyone, but Chris wanted to know, I guess I must have mentioned that I'm putting in flooring and stuff. So he said tile, wood, or laminate. So I'm actually, it's kind of cool. It's like a peel and stick vinyl, but it's in sections and it's groutable. So it looks like tile when you're done, because you grout it and everything. And I mean, it says luxury like vinyl, but it looks a lot, because I had vinyl before. It was like cheesy looking and gross. But no, this stuff looks really nice, and it's not super expensive, especially if you install it yourself. So that's the answer to that.
Luxury tile.
Yeah, you didn't think we were going to talk about home improvements on today's show. That's a whole other. Yeah, we'll have to do a home improvement channel. That stuff's big. We need it. I wish there was a art channel, like the home and garden channel, or that one that has all those shows are like super popular, man. I wish there were more shows about artists and artists. I guess people don't care enough about that, except for other artists. That would be cool to have a whole network just for, artists and creators and things like that.
Could do art and home improvement.
Yeah.
Today I retiled my kitchen and I drew this wonderful illustration of Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. So also in the chat, I don't know that I assume this is a Reservoir Dogs reference, but it says Mr. Pink is Scott's new name, so I wasn't sure what that was in regards to, but I know the Mr. Pink character from Reservoir Dogs, so I don't know if that's what they meant.
It's been a while since I've seen the movie. Was he the? I don't remember which one he was.
Wasn't he? What's his name? He's in everything. He's in all the Coen Brothers movies and stuff.
Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi. Wasn't that Steve Buscemi? Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it too. Yeah, so. But I don't know. So we're closing in on our hour and a half. So I don't know. Is there anything else that you want to bring up that we haven't talked about yet, Mike?
Not that I can think of, really. I mean, we really looked back on the year.
Yeah. And look forward a little bit too. So
yeah, I guess it's just been a crazy year for everybody, I think, in a lot of different ways.
That's so they're talking about tipping. So I remember I think he said he didn't tip.
That's right. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Thanks for clarifying. Now I know what you're talking about. I didn't say I didn't tip. I said there's just there's certain things that I'm like, do I need a tip for that? Is that but
he doesn't believe in tipping.
Yeah. No.
What do you mean you don't believe in tipping? Yeah, no, I think we covered it pretty well. It's just been a nuts year for everybody, and I think the best way to move forward is always to kind of learn from what happened in the year, and just try to adapt and come up with new things for the next year. So.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe when we come back after the break next week, maybe we'll talk more about better ways of setting goals and things like that. We'll see. Hey, Kevin Cross is in the chat. Hey, Kevin. If I would have known you were free, I would have asked if you could come on, since Josh isn't around. It would have been nice to have 3 people. I'm definitely curious to see what Kevin's doing in the new year. I know this has been a crazy year for him. So, I guess we can just talk about where we can find everyone, and everyone meaning just us two. but yeah, I want to also, anyone that's in the chat, let us know what some of your, how your year went and what you're planning on doing in the new year and everything. I always like to get feedback and stuff. I guess we don't usually get as much feedback in like the comment section of these videos, because I think people tend to comment in the chat and everything. And I still wish there was a way to, there is a way, I can cut and paste this and put it in the comment section, which I have done in the past, but I wish there was a way for people to see the comments after the fact. Maybe someday YouTube will figure that out, but he's checking in from his date. That's cool. All right, I won't read all of that. But anyway.
Oh, geez.
So anyway, Mike, where can everyone find you?
Okay, right now the best place to find me would be on Instagram. Just Instagram. I think it's Mike Emirates or Michael Emirates, one or the other. And then, as always, spacecatcomics.com. That'll lead you straight to my store, and from there you can find all my other social media links as well.
Okay, and you can find me here on this channel, Serkworks, on YouTube, or you can, and like I said, I'm like 10 subscribers away from hitting that 3,000 subscriber or so. If you aren't subscribed, might as well do that. You can help me out. And also, Christmas, the holiday seasons are over, but if you don't care about getting something for the holidays, if you might want something afterwards, or maybe you think, because we're not going to be here next week, so if you get some of that Christmas money and you want to buy some comics or some prints or whatever, you can go to serkworks.com, and there's a store link there, and I got t-shirts, I have all kinds of stuff. Check that out there. But yeah, like I said, so we're going to take a break for the holidays next week, and we will be back, and hopefully Josh will be feeling better by then. But yeah, definitely Josh links will be in the description as well. We also have a mailing list, and we don't spam anyone or anything, but the way this chat works is it switches from Josh's channel to my channel, and then back to Josh's, and sometimes usually it's on Wednesday nights, but sometimes it's a different day. So if you want to know where we're going to be, if you sign up for our mailing list, usually 30 minutes before we're about to go live, we'll send out a notification, let everyone know what that link is and where you can find us. So you might want to sign up for that mailing list, and that will be in the description as well. And we always have, typically it's me and Josh when he's not sick. And we have a third guest, and today that's Mike, and it was Mike last week too. So I don't know, now that Mike's kind of back in art, we'll definitely have to keep having Mike on again. So
cool.
But yeah, so who knows what the guest next when we come back from our break will be. But I also want to thank everyone in the chat. Thanks for keeping the conversation going and everything. And and also feel free to leave a comment. So. But anyways, I want to wish everyone happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, whatever you celebrate. If you're celebrating anything this time of year, and if you don't, then just hope you have a great day and
happy Festivus.
Festivus, yeah, Festivus for the rest of us. All right, everyone. We'll see you. I guess we'll see you in 2018.
Oh, see you in the future.
All right. Later, everyone.